we have been challenged over the last several years in Internet2 to build the right kinds of relationships with the research community. And that's really what Internet2 is all about here. You know, researchers are sort of the intersection of Internet2 and advanced networking and research is a sort of a perfect storm for not just solving the needs of our research community, but by being at the forefront of discovering and defining and developing the kinds of applications that find their way into the ecosystem in other ways. You all know the stories of, Netscape coming out of our supercomputer center and the enormous impact it's had. You know the sort of technology transfer model here and why that is so very important to us. You're also aware that several months ago, I was able to prevail on Steve Wolff, who is one of the extraordinary leaders over the last 2 decades and more in our community in establishing an effective national R&E networking strategy. Steve joined Internet2 as Chief Technology Officer with several goals that he's going to talk a bit about here, and then he's going to talk more specifically about the work he's been doing with members of the community to get a research support program in place and organized within the Internet2 program framework. Steve?
Thank you, Dave, and good morning, everybody. As Dave said, researcher support is our most important mission here at Internet2. I've been fortunate enough to convince some very well qualified people to help in this mission. First of all, Wendy Huntoon, who I think is known to everybody in the room, has been supporting researchers for many years. She's probably the best qualified person in the entire world to take on this task. And I'm delighted that she has been willing to spend a substantial fraction of her time under contract to Internet2 to set up a researcher support function and make it work. Scott Grimm, Deputy Technology Officer, whose roots in this community go back to the Theory Center at Cornell, who has had a career in industry, including lots of time spent in standards organizations, working at layer 9 in the protocol stack, which makes him great fun to talk to and very hard to win arguments from. Jason Zarowski, who supports researchers in the trenches, a man of many talents. He can cut code, he can splice cable, he writes research papers, and I'm just delighted to have him on the team. Neely Tannenbaum, a documentation specialist who keeps us in the good graces of the funding agencies who, as we all know, are an important piece of the researcher puzzle. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out what our vision was for researcher support, and I think we finally got it. We've been working on it for several months. The words aren't quite right yet, but the ideas are there. If you think of Janus, the woman demigod that looks 2 ways, we want in our vision, we want to be Internet2 to be looked on by researchers as an essential, a vital part of their research projects, that they would rather work with Internet2 than anybody else in accomplishing their research, making it more timely, making it more productive. And on the other hand, looking in the other direction, we want to be regarded by our collaborators, our collaborating networks, the regional optical networks, campus networks, our peer networks in other countries, light path exchanges and the light paths that join them together. We want them to look on Internet2 as an invaluable partner in accomplishing their mission of supporting research. We have a multi-threaded strategy to try to get to this vision, first of which is collaboration. Collaboration is key. If we have a researcher in a department connected by a campus network and a regional optical network to Internet2, there's clear need for collaboration. If the researcher happens to be at the NYU campus in Shanghai, right, while her data are in Brooklyn, and she has compute cycles at Clemson, I sort of lose track of the number of entities that have to be collaborated with. in order to do this better, we need to make Internet2 more user-friendly. I don't like that term user-friendly, but indeed, it has to be easy for special services, for special requirements to be easy to get, and for routine requirements to be invisible. We need to convene, confer, consult, and we need to be part of the research community itself. We need to do research in the CTO's office. We need to write papers and present them at conferences. We cannot just sit in the audience and listen. You cannot understand how to play baseball by sitting in the bleachers and eating peanuts, right? You have to get down on the field and get your knees muddy. That's what we need to do too. Our support for researchers has got to be comprehensive. Cradle to grave, maybe not, but certainly from proposal to publication. As the proposal is being written, we need to be there to help the researcher articulate and define the networking needs. And at the other end, we need to be part of the publication process, writing the paper, articulating in the paper how the network helped the research succeed. Having done all this, we then need to take these special things that we've done with researchers and translate those into new services that Internet2 can offer as a routine matter to the research community. So how are we going to do these things? Near term, we need to do more to understand how to operate as a virtual organization. Researchers are located all over the world. We need to be able to work with them, but we cannot possibly travel as much as is required in the past to do that kind of work. We do not understand, we do not yet really grok the virtual organization strategy, and we need to work on that. We need to instantiate the Researcher Support Center. We haven't got the title quite right yet. And Wendy is doing that right now. I don't know how many of you have seen Alan Blateki's marvelous cyber infrastructure ecosystem slide, which is portrayed there on the left of the screen. You probably can't read it. Even when it's full size, you can't read it, unless you're up close. But it explicates, I think, in a way that no picture that I've ever seen before, that this cyber infrastructure is an ecosystem. It is not just the researcher. It is the researcher, it is the hardware, it is the software, it is the data. It's all the computational resources. And in particular, it includes those parts of the administration of universities that make the research possible, the CIOs without whom there would be no campus network, and the vice presidents for research without whose staff all the bureaucratic and administrative and regulatory aspects of doing research would just overwhelm the researcher. So we need to connect with all elements of the ecosystem and refine our relationships and make ourselves useful. Having done that, we need to document it, and I'm going to rely on Anna Hunsinger's doughty band of web developers to help us do that. We need to develop the methods for turning lessons that we've learned into new products and services for Internet2. And finally, the next thing that we're going to do starting next week is to announce a rotator program. What is a rotator program? You're a participant from a university, staff or faculty, a regional network, a state or federal agency works in the office of the CTO at Internet2, either physically or virtually, possibly funded under the NSF Goalie program, which is designed for this kind of temporary assignment, or under the terms of the Intergovernmental Personnel Act. Why would we do this? Well, nothing stagnates like a static organization. I want the CTO's office to be continually renewed and refreshed by new ideas, new ways of thought. A little bit of subversion doesn't hurt, because only in this way can we keep Internet2 and the CTO's office in particular fresh and alive and thinking in new ways. The result of doing this, of course, might be jointly authored papers. But even if not, when the rotator goes home again, the rotator will have a better idea of what Internet2 does and how it does it, and we will have a better understanding of the researcher's environment. It's a win-win situation, and I'm looking forward to doing it. Anyway, that's my story, and if you have issues, problems, concerns, ideas, I'm happy to listen to them. Thank you very much.